Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. Right, this is a giveaway entry to Dice Miniature Paint Guy. He's having a little giveaway over on his channel. I'll put a link to the giveaway video in the description below. Go and check it out. Go on over, give him a sub. You can enter the giveaway just by making a comment on his video. Gives you one entry, and then making a video response gives you some additional entries. And the giveaway prize is some awesome basing material. So go and check out the video. Like I said, link in the description below. So the video response is basically showing how you do your bases, potentially doing tutorial or just showing the models. I do have tutorials on some of these bases that I'm going to show you already, so I'll try and link those up if I can in the description if you want to check them out. But yeah, I'm going to run through my 4 painted armies that I've got, and just go over how and the why I've done all the bases. So I'm going to start off with my first army, which is the Necrons. So I'm just going to set up the Necrons and we'll have a chat about those. Okay, so here are my Necrons. My Necron board and my models are basically centered around the look that was in the very original Necron Codex that I had, the old black Codex. So I basically copied everything from there. Now, for me personally, the base is incredibly important, and the main reason for that, not only does it just make the models look good, but I personally use it for marking my different units. Now, especially with Necrons, when I first started, as I said, Necron my first army, and I wanted all of my Necrons to look the same. You know, I didn't want to mark like a squad of 20 warriors and another squad of 20 warriors by painting them differently. I wanted them all to look the same, to have that sort of Necron look about them. So I decided to use the base to change the model units so I could work out what unit was what, and that's exactly what I did. So my actual scheme is very simple. Matching my board is basically just painted black, and then it's dry brushed with a Codex grey. And as you can see, this guy here has got a rock on his base. So I'd have a unit of 20 with rocks on their bases, and then maybe have another unit with rocks and crystals, which you can see this lord here, he's got rocks and like crystals on his base. So I'd have one unit with just rocks, one unit with just crystals on the warriors. Going up into obviously characters where there's basically only one of them. You know, that's where you can really go to town on your bases. And as you can see on this one, I've got a mixture of crystals and rocks, you know, really filling that base up with a lot of goodies just to make it look really, really detailed. And of course, the bigger the base goes, the more detail work you can do. So on my flyer, where you have obviously a lot of sort of space as such, I really did go to town on this. And as you can see, I've got loads of like Necron bits. Got some of my green stuff scarabs that I made, and the idea is they're sort of just repairing this broken like monolith pieces here on the floor. So you know, when it's individual models, obviously if I had another flyer, I mean I've only got one flyer, if I had another flyer I would do something different on the base just to distinguish the two flyers and just make them look unique as well, which is always nice to have. So a pretty basic scheme, but that's where I started with my bases, and gave me the original idea of using the bases as markers for different units, and that has been very consistent with my armies through the armies that I've done. So let's jump straight on to the next army I'm going to look at. It's going to be my Tyranids. Okay, so on to the Tyranids. The Tyranids, very, very basic base scheme, but it works really well, I think. I wanted something just to complement the black and yellow colour scheme that I've got. So I went for this like desert, yellowy desert finish. And it's very, very easy. So all I basically did was put the sand down on the base. I washed it with a watered down desert yellow paint mix. Let that dry, and then I wash it with a sepia mix, and it gives that really nice like browny sandy colour, and that is it. It's not even highlighted, but it just, as I said, it seems to work really well. And then I went on to, as I said, distinguishing the different units. So for example, on these rippers here, The rippers have absolutely nothing on the base, they're just the sand basically, and that's how I would make one unit like that. And then if I had another unit, I might put some like rocks on the base, and then on another unit I might put these like little like I don't know, like cactus things, which I've found from one of my WarGaming stores, and distinguish the units like that. And of course, as you go into individual models, like say a big monstrous creature like Old One Eye, he's got a bit of both. You know, he's got some rocks and some of these little cactus things. Now, the other thing that I wanted to say on here as well is you may or may not recognise what these rock things are. Let me just zoom in a bit. Okay, so those little rock things there is coral. When I went on holiday, I was at the beach, I found this like material. To be fair, I didn't know what it was at the time, but I thought that looks really cool, very alien-esque. So I picked it up and made it onto my Tyranid bases. I think that's one of the key things really. It's always worth having a look around when you're out and about, you know, on the floor. Yes, on the floor. We all find stuff on the floor, don't we? But yeah, like little rocks and stuff, you know, that can make really cool pieces of terrain or you know, basing material. So that was the Tyranids basically. So I put the coral on a lot of my bigger bases just to give them some extra detail. You know, little rocks like this Carnifex, for example, it's got just a standard rock and the guardian on there and a piece of coral. And then all the little gribblies like the gaunts and the gants and stuff. When I've got multiple units, I just put different materials on the bases. Just to distinguish the units. Now I do have a painting tutorial for these particular bases in my archives, so I will try and link that up. I said it's very basic, but if you are interested in having a look at that, seeing me make those bases, I will put a link in the description below. Okay, so that's the Tyranids. I'm going to put them aside now, get the Eldar out, and we'll have a chat about those. Okay, so here's my Eldar. The big guy is just too big, so I'll just leave the bases in the frame. But yeah, so I went for the Eldar, and I decided I wanted to go for a base that would match my buddy's board, because I had my Necrons, they matched my board. The Tyranids, although the base suited the model really, really well, I didn't have like an actual gaming board that matched the bases to make them look super cool. So with my Eldar, I decided to go for a theme that matched my buddy's board, and he has like a grass mat effectively. So and the terrain is like rocks. So I went with that. So again, using the rocks to distinguish the different units. So I have like one unit with no rocks on, one unit with rocks on. I've got the little Wraith Guard here, for example. He's got, so let me just try and zoom in a bit here. Right. So yeah, as you can see, he's got a rock on there with some grass. And I did that very, very easily. Once again, all I basically did was put a dark brown base on there. And then I dry brushed it with a couple of lighter browns, eventually going up to a bone colour on the final highlight. I did brown edges on these because I thought it would be nice to have a change from just the black, and I think it works really well with the bases. I think it looks nice, and that is something to consider, what edge you're going to put on your bases, something to match either the army or the bases. And then when it was varnished, obviously I put on some grass just to bring that grass feel to the army. And then going up to sort of independent characters as such, some slightly more unique things, like this guy here. Again, because I was using my buddy's board with his obviously army, which was Blood Angels, I thought it'd be pretty cool to have Blood Angels on their bases. Now I only use Dead Blood Angels on my Eldar, and that's just my running theme. So yeah, so independent characters, you can spruce up your bases a little bit more than you would maybe just like a standard man. And of course, again, the bigger the model, you know, the more dynamic you can make your base, as I bring in this guy. So yeah, I won my Wraith Knight in a giveaway from cruorangelussilicis from Mike. and because it was a prize, I wanted to put a lot of effort into it and make it really, really good. It was also part of my very first Nick's New Year painting challenge that I did. So I went to town on the base. I was donated this speeder from Dragonforge Studios. Again, I put links to everyone in the description. So I donated this speeder, and I decided to make it into like a wrecked speeder on the base. And I'm really, really happy with it. I've got his foot like crushing the speeder into two. Got these little wires that I put into the middle of there. Did a little freehand blood angel symbol on the back there. Weathered it all up. Got some like broken shards just on the side here, and then inside the cockpit we've got some damage. There is actually a full story to this. So this guy here with all the blood and guts all over the place, you actually look on the side, I've named him Mike in honour of Mike for for me winning this. But yeah, this guy here, he's had a scatter laser to the face. He's exploded. The speeder has crashed because of that. And then this guy here, who I named Lou, because Lou from 40k Warpaint, he also sent me some goodies. Very, really kind gentleman, really great guy. So I decided to make this guy called Lou, and he is cowering there. Look, he's protecting his head. He doesn't want to look at this massive Wraith Knight coming across the speeder here. So yeah, a full story on this one. I mean, very dramatic base, and that's exactly what you can do. You can really go to town on your bases, especially for centerpiece, centerpiece units. And let's face it, this guy here, the Wraith Knight with his Klingon batleth, is a centerpiece, so he deserved a big base. Okay, so that's him. Going to move on now to my Space Wolves. Okay, so Space Wolves. So after all of the bases that I already had done, I decided that I would like to have a go at some resin bases, some pre-made resin bases. So that's what I went for my Space Wolves. I also needed to rebase them anyway from the old small bases onto these new 32mm bases. So I went for these like urban rubble type base for these guys, keeping that sort of street like dirty feel for them. Also because they match my Cities of Death table as well, so that sort of a bit twofold there with the bases that I chose. So no snow, but that's, like I said, because I can get my buildings out on my gaming board and these guys will match into them quite nicely. So this is the base. As you can see there, it's basically just like a rubble type base. I do have a tutorial on how I paint these bases. Again, I'll try and put a link in the description below. And I distinguish the units as well. So for example, when I made a 10-man unit, I'd have 5 with just plain bases, and then on the other 5, like this guy here, I put on some extra stuff on his base. So he's got like this big like missile thing on his base, and I had like 5 with something on the base, 5 without something on the base. So that 10-man unit I can split into 2 squads of 5. So keeping that theme of using the basing material to distinguish the units. So that was him, and then when I moved up to an independent character, again I sort of took it to the next level, and like this guy here, he's standing. So see if I can reposition and zoom in a bit for you. Sorry about the wobbly camera. So there you go. So he is standing on a piece of rhino there, Emperor's Children rhino. So using the same 32mm bases, but just boosting the base a little bit more, giving it a little bit more detail, as he is an independent character. So yeah, that is it really. That's my little story, my journey on my bases as such. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully it gave you some tips and ideas as well. As I said, go and check out Dice Miniature Paint Guy. Awesome guy, great channel. Go and give him a sub. I would appreciate it. And if you fancy entering his little giveaway, of course, make your own videos about how you do your bases. Thanks for watching.